Hi students, this flip is going to be on Usted and Ustedes commands. So we've learned two commands in the past, and now we're going to learn how to give formal commands to one person or to a group. You can find a note sheet for this on page 12 of your packet, but these notes are a little bit different. You're going to be taking your own notes. So I gave you some blanks, I gave you a little bit of prompts as to what's important, but I want to make sure that you know how to take your own notes by writing down what you think is the most important. So again, page 12 of your packet, and you're going to write down whatever you think is the most important stuff that I say. So first, ¿para qué usamos los mandatos? We use mandatos to give directions to a stranger or an adult. That would be an usted command. We use usted commands for recipe instructions. We use usted commands for instruction manuals for products. For telling a group of strangers, adults, or friends to do something, that would be an ustedes command because that's more than one person. So for example, you might say something, turn right at the corner, go 2 blocks, turn left, continue straight for 3 blocks. So usted commands are formed a certain way. So there's a formula. So step 1, before step 1, you need to have your verb. Then your first step will be to put your verb in the yo form. So the verb probar would go to pruebo. Then you are going to take off the O from that verb, and you're going to be left with prueb. And then you're going to add the opposite ending. So what that means is if it's an AR verb, you're going to use ER-IR endings. And if it's an ER-IR verb, you're going to use an AR ending. So you're adding the opposite LA usted ending. So the usted command for the verb probar would be pruebe. Again, we took our verb, we put it in the yo form, pruebo, took off the O, and then added the opposite LA usted form ending, pruebe. Okay, so for example, pruebe la tortilla, try the tortilla. So I want you to take a second to do these couple examples. Primero, blank las patatas y cebolla. Entonces, we have the verb calentar, and notice this verb is an E to IE boot verb. That's what that IE in parentheses means. So when you put it in the yo form, it is going to have a stem change because the yo form is within the boot. So it will also have a stem change in its command form. Then we have luego, blank, freír la cebolla en el aceite, y después añadir las patatas y las freír. So I want you to go ahead and put each of those verbs in parentheses in the usted command form on the blanks that are on your sheet on page 12. Now, if you didn't have enough time to complete all 4, go ahead and just pause this video and I'm going to continue on. So just like usted commands, the formula to form ustedes commands is really similar. The difference is that ustedes commands are used for a group of people. So I use these a lot with you as a class. For example, saquen los libros or lean la página 25. So these are the type of commands that I generally use with you. So the formation of these commands is very similar. We're going to take our verb, probar. We're going to put it in the yo form, pruebo. We take off the O, we're going to be left with prueb. Then we're going to add the opposite ellos, ellas, ustedes ending. So for AR verbs, we'll add the ER-IR, ellos, ellas, ustedes ending. And for ER-IR verbs, we add the opposite AR, ellos, ellas, ustedes ending. So this is an AR verb, probar. We're going to add an ER-IR, ellos, ellas, ustedes ending, prueben. So for example, prueben la tortilla. This would be a command given to a group of people. So again, I want you to do a little bit of practice with these ustedes commands. So, la maestra dice, José, Laura, no correr en el pasillo. Estudiantes, hacer la tarea. Señor Mauer, subir a mi cuarto, por favor. Nora, Benjamín, no hablar tanto. So notice how all of these commands are given to more than one person or to a group. That's what makes them ustedes commands. On page 12, where it says numbers 1 through 4, I want you to go ahead and write down the correct ustedes command of each of these 4 verbs. Again, if you didn't have enough time to complete these 4, go ahead and pause this video and I'm going to move on. So the next one we have is that CarGAR and ZAR verbs. We know that in the preterite tense, these verbs are a little bit different. They have a little bit of a change in the yo form. The C goes to a QU, the G goes to a GU, and the Z goes to a C. Well, this change is actually going to apply to these commands as well, both usted and ustedes commands. So for example, we have verbs like practicar and llegar and almorzar. So our command forms are going to be practique, practiquen. So instead of putting these in the yo form where it has a C, we're going to change it to a QU. Practique, practiquen, those would be our usted and ustedes commands. Llegue and lleguen. Almuerce and almuercen. So if you look at almorzar, this is a boot verb, and we also have to change that Z to a C in our command form. So there's two things that are a little different here. So I want you to make sure that you write down all of these and that you know that the CargarZAR rule that usually only applies to the preterite tense also applies to these usted and ustedes commands. And then of course we have some irregulars. There are 5 verbs that are irregular, and you can remember them by remembering sides. S-I-D-E-S. The first verb is the verb ser. This is our S. And its commands are sella for the usted and sellan for the ustedes commands. The I stands for ir. The usted command is vaya, and the ustedes command is vayan. The D stands for dar. The usted command is de with an accent. Don't forget your accent. And the eoseas ustedes form is den. The E stands for estar, and its command forms are este with an accent and esten with an accent. Again, don't forget those accent marks. And then our second S is saber. We have sepa for the usted command and sepan for the ustedes command. So again, remember the acronym SIDES, and you'll be able to remember our irregulars. So go ahead and take a moment to practice our irregular verbs, and please write down the answers to these on page 13 of your packet.